They say that a blinking LED is the hello world of electronics programming, and this is even better. This is a blinking LED, the hello world, on my first ever self-designed PCB. For the Pi4J project, where we have an interface between Java and the GPIOs of a Raspberry Pi, one of the big challenges we always had was how to test this, how to make sure that an input-output pin actually works. And we explained that in a video that we created earlier, Tom and me, about a smoke test that we added recently to Pi4J. That can be run by anyone who has the right setup to validate that all the input-output types, all the ways of communicating with electronic components are working correctly. It involves a breadboard setup with some wires which are directly connected between input and output pins, and also two temperature sensors, one which is read the SPI and the other one with I2C. And then if you execute some code which is part of the core library, it actually executes a lot of commands specifically on these ports, but you see it's quite some setup with a lot of wires. The wires are defined in these tables, so you need a lot of wires for I2C, you need even a bit more for SPI, and then you have these direct inputs, like for instance for the PWM. So we go from a PWM out to a digital input pin so that we can toggle the PWM and measure on the input pin that actually something is happening. So this was all defined. It works great. Tom has a setup like that. I have one. There are others. So it's not expensive, and it's just a one-time job to set it up, but it's quite error prone because wires can get loose, you can make a wrong connection. So we were looking for a better solution, which has always been a dream in the Pi4J project. There were ideas like that already for a long time. There were even designs on how to do that. Jan from my CoderDojo club in Ieper, he actually helped me to convert this breadboard setup into an actual schematic PCB in this tool EasyEDA. You have this 40 pin header. I added two rows of pins to measure the connection if you actually have a problem, that you can check it. And then you have these labels like SDA and SCL, which are connected to a pin of the Raspberry Pi and then are used on the temperature sensor, BME280. And we have the same both for I2C and SPI. This is a very handy way, so you don't need to draw actually all these lines. You have these labels, and for the fun, because they're really inexpensive, added some LEDs and resistors so that you actually see that something is happening on the PCB. Like for instance here, an input-output, so this connection between two pins, there is a LED attached to it that you will see something happening. This is the schematic. We also have the 5 volt and 3.3 volt connections there where they are needed. And this is just a translation of that breadboard setup into a schematic. So it's actually this drawing which has been converted into a schematic. Now, this is fun. This is the start, and then you have to do the layout. So actually design the PCB. There are some tools in here to come up with a proposal. I did a lot of fine-tuning on top of that, went a bit back and forth with the Pi4J team. And what you see here is now the final result with added some labels. And if you go over this PCB, you actually see these connections light up. So you can actually validate that everything is connected, like this 5 volt. You see that the ground is connected, so all the ground pins are connected together. This is, for instance, the SPI connection, so you actually see the wires on the board. And for the LEDs, so 38 is just a check pin for a specific test. 36 is connected to 37, also connected to a LED. The same for 32 to 35, and so on and so on. And then you have this 3D visualization, which is really great. So you really see how the board will look like. And you can also check that everything is labeled correctly at the right place. You can turn it around and check it from all angles. Now I wanted to order this, and this is where I actually stumbled about user experience and Although this is a great tool, a lot of these companies are really great in hardware, but the software, is not that good from user experience point of view. I wanted to order this, and if you're in this view, the schematic view, the only thing you get is order the parts, and if you click on it, you just end up on the website of JLCPCB. So nothing handy there, no real order is happening. You have this order button, but it's the same thing, it's just order the ports. Actually, you have to be in the PCB view, and there you have other settings. So I find this very confusing. I even had to chat with the support team to find where the button is really and which button I needed to press, because you see there are different buttons here and it's not clear what you really have to press. So this is a bit of a struggle the first time you are doing this, but at the end I was able to order everything, 5 boards, that's the minimum quantity I had to order, because I also wanted them to be already assembled. The only thing that they hadn't in stock was the 40-pin header, but that's not an issue. They are very cheap and easy to solder, so that's what I did. And this is what I received, so very well packed. So this was the package with the 5 boards. Each board was on a bit of foam, to protect these headers. So these are the 5 boards as they arrived, and already ordered a lot of extra 40-pin headers. You see that they are actually on a bigger assembly, because my design was actually too small for the production run. So if it's too small, they put some extra board around it so that it can go through the PCB machines. This is the back, of course. So this arrived. I knew that the 40-pin headers would not be there, so I soldered one. That's the easy part, because it's just going straight through. And I was using my setup that I already had available with a Raspberry Pi 5, and this is the old setup, the breadboard version. So you see all these wires, and I even have some labels there to distinguish SPI and I2C if something goes wrong. And this is the small version, so with everything pre-assembled and all fixed. So you have the same temperature sensor, but then without the additional PCB, so the sensor directly soldered on the board. And what I also like to use is 2 pieces of these flat cables, so that I don't need to unplug the cable on the Raspberry Pi itself to limit the stress that I put on this board. So you see I have an extra flat cable to go to my new PCB. Of course, I really had to check that I was connecting pin 1 to the pin 1 on the PCB between the Raspberry Pi and the PCB to not make any mistakes there. Let's first run the existing smoke test with the PCB to validate that the code is still valid and running as expected. This is the smoke test in IntelliJ on my Raspberry Pi. You see we have a list of tests that will be executed. So all these are defined in different classes, so they're easily you can easily check them and what they are doing, and actually run them one by one if you command all the tests that you need in a specific case. So this is now being executed on the breadboard version of the smoke test setup. You see it does some PWM flashing, so it measures the number of times that a PWM signal is measured on the input side, and then does the other tests. It also runs the I2C test and the SPI test. And you get for each test a result, so passed or failed, and some extra info there. But if we scroll up, then you will see that there is also a summary here, and there were 10 tests executed and all tests have passed, which is what we expected and hoped, and indeed we have a good result. Okay, let's clear this and run it again now with the new PCB. You see the LEDs blinking, so that means that we actually have a test running. You will also see that it jumps to other LEDs. Let's wait a bit until the tests are finished. And if we scroll through, then we have, yes, we have passed on all of these tests. and again 10 succeeded. Okay, our PCB is working up to the next station, and that's updating the documentation. See you.